Hello. Today is the day I start my soap making process. So I've spent the last few weeks at least watching video after video, reading, taking notes. I have a soap making binder, and today I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try. I'm gonna make a really simple soap, a very small batch. It's only a 288 gram batch that will fill one small silicone mold of just some plain old round shaped soap. So nothing fancy, no swirls, no decorations, anything like that. I just want to kind of get the recipe down pat. So what I am making is a green tea lemongrass soap, and I'm going to add some lemongrass essential oil and eucalyptus oil. So as I go on, I'll be telling you about the health benefits of lemongrass as well as eucalyptus. So I am going to use all the safety measures that I have read about. I have on an apron. Thanks to my friend Rosie. She gave this to me the other day. Yay, Rosie, thank you. I have on gloves. I have goggles. And I have an N95 mask. I was able to find this at Lowe's. Go figure. So what I am doing now is I'm going to measure out the lye crystals, and then I'm going to add them very slowly to my green tea, which is my water substitute. And I'm going to use an immersion blender to make sure it's all immersed really fine. So everybody knows with lye, you have to be careful. So I am doing this outside on my patio. It's cold, but that's okay. It's very open. It's actually a little bit windy, so that's good. It'll disperse some of the fumes, and I'm also going to turn on the ceiling fan to make sure that the fumes get really dispersed. I had thought about doing it outside, but it's raining, so I think I'll be okay in here. And it's a really, really small batch. I'm only using, let's see, how much lye? I'm only using 100 grams of lye. All right, so I'm going to put on my mask, and let's get started. All right, so I'm using my kitchen scale, and I'm going to use this cup, and I've marked it as lye because from now on I will always use this to measure out my lye. And I'm going to put it on the scale and zero it. All right, and I need 40 grams of lye. So they're in here. All right. And close this back up and set this to the side. I've already measured out my water. I have 110 grams of, it's actually green tea as my water substitute. And now comes the fun part. I'll let you know just how steamy this gets. I'm gonna very slowly add this. And my tea was cold. I read that if you use cold water, that helps. So this tea has been in the refrigerator since yesterday. Okay, starting to change color. Yeah, it does get pretty hot. So I can't tell anything as far as fumes or anything like that. And I'm sure it's because it's a very small amount and I'm outside and I have on a mask and these goggles. So I'm good. I'm thinking probably with a larger batch you can tell more about the fumes. But it is pretty hot. That's pretty cool. That's science. All right, so I'm gonna leave this outside and I'll bring it inside when I'm ready to add it to my batter. So, cool. I'll be back in a few. Okay, I'm back. So I went ahead and prepared my fats. The other day I showed a picture. I infused matcha into my olive oil because I would like to make this a green soap. So I did a lot of reading on how to use natural products to make color because I don't want to use any dyes or anything unnatural. All of my soaps are to be 100% natural. So I infused the olive oil with matcha tea powder, and let's see how green it turns out. I've gone ahead and melted my other two fats, my coconut oil and my manuka, and I'm going to add them all together, and then I will slowly add the lye water. The lye water has cooled off some, so it's safer to handle, but I am still wearing my gloves and I'm still wearing my mask just in case there are some fumes. Let's see. Because I used the powder, I am going to strain the the olive oil, just in case there's some of that powdery substance left and I want my soap to be nice and smooth. So hang on, I'm going to go get my strainer. Okay, it was right here. I was prepared. I did try to lay everything out that I'm going to need. Because once you start mixing the stuff together, it is a quickly moving process. So I wanted to have everything handy. So I'm gonna go ahead and strain my olive oil through this sieve. Oh yeah, I can see where there's a little bit of the powder at the bottom. You can see that. Oh yeah, I'm so glad I did that. I don't know how that would have turned out. Okay. But I know I had read something about it. I did so much reading and so much video watching. All right, so I'm gonna put this to the side. It's just olive oil. And I'm going to slowly add in my solid oils that I have melted in the microwave oven. Get all of them in there. And it's the chemical reaction between lye water and oils that makes soap. So the other stuff is just extra. So if you did nothing but add lye water and soap, no additives, no colors, no scents, nothing like that, it would turn out fine. So I am going to use my immersion stick to blend the oils. And I read that you shouldn't get any air in here, so I'm making sure that the holes on the side that I've created a seal, and I'm just gonna get that out to get all of those solids, make sure they're blended in really nicely. Okay. Stand this up here. There you go, just in case. All right, it's nice and green. I hope it stays that way. All right, here comes the part. I'm going to add the lye to my oils very slowly. So this is called a cold process soap. So everything is at room temperature. And this process of adding the lye to the oils, the chemical reaction is saponification, hence the term soap. So my lye water is really dark. That's because I use that green tea. So this might just turn out nice and green, because everything I've read, the green fades over time. So I'll take pictures of how it started, and then the first cut, and then it does have to cure for at least 4 to 6 weeks when you use the cold process. I think next weekend I'm going to try the hot process because the curing time is very short. And then I'll see what I like best, and I just may do a combination. You know, I'll have both cold and hot process soaps available. But all of my soaps will be 100% natural, and they're all going to be geared towards some type of wellness. Cool. This is so cool. This is something I've wanted to do for a couple of years now, but I didn't have really the time. Now I have time, so I'm doing it. Yay, yay me. All right. So now I'm going to use the stick. From what I've read, in the olden days, you would have to stir for hours to get it to trace. So excuse the noise. So there's a process called trace. So when it starts to, yeah, it is starting to go to trace. It's sticking to the blender. I'm gonna run this cycle a few more times. Make sure all the lye is mixed in there with the soap. So it's changing colors. It's kind of an orange now. That's weird. So this is the tray that I'm going to use, the silicone tray. So you can see it's just like little rounds. There'll be like little regular bars of soap that you would kind of like get at the hotel. So I'm gonna have this ready to pour. So once the lye has been mixed in well with the oils and it reaches that thick trace, the lye is deactivated, so it's no longer the chemical form that it was, and it would not burn you or anything. Just do it a few more times. This is my first one. I want to make sure I've got it all mixed in there. Getting too much air in here. This is a really small batch. I probably should have used a smaller bowl. I might end up having air bubbles in my soap, but this is going to be for me. This is a learning batch. From what I've read, the soap is always good. It's just the aesthetics of it. If it has air bubbles or something like that, it doesn't mean it's not a functional soap. It just may not be a very pretty soap, and I want to make pretty, healthy soaps. All right, so it is thickening up some. I'm going to go ahead and add my essential oils. I've read and saw on videos that the oils can also brush the trace or thicken it up. So I don't want to wait too late and then it's so thick I can't pour it into my molds. Oh, I need to do one more thing. I'm going to grab my wooden box to put my mold in so I can carry it. There we go. Kevin was so sweet. He made this box for me to mold my soap, but I'm not ready to make a batch quite this big yet. So I'm going to put my little mold inside the box, and then that way I can carry it to where it needs to be stored. Put some paper in here. In case I have spillage. So it doesn't mess up my box. There we go. Perfect. Okay. All right, so here goes the oils. I'm going to add my eucalyptus oil. I've already pre-measured it. I'm going to turn on the blender. I'm going to add lemongrass oil. It smells good. And all the reading I read and the videos I watched, most people recommend adding the oils at trace so that the lye doesn't change the composition of the oil. So that's what I've done too. Oops. Hey, look. Here goes the pour. So I measured the mold to figure out how big of a batch I needed to make. I was a little bit nervous about that because I had never done anything like this, but it seems like I did it correctly. Cool. Yeah, worst case scenario is I have a little extra, right? And I may have just a few little bits extra, but I wouldn't know where to put it. So I'm just gonna leave it. And I'm gonna grab this so that you can see. So I poured it into my molds. I'm going to set those in my spare room and let them sit overnight. And by tomorrow this time, I should be able to take them out of the mold. We'll see. All right, cool. I'm excited.